On parents to keep a close eye on their children. Now, in our Durban studio, we are joined by a drug expert from the area, Dr. Lochan Naidoo. Is that correct, Doctor? Yes, you can hear me well, Doctor?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. This terrible event that's happened down in Durban with the learners dying, just give me your quick overview and then tell us about the specific drug that's used in this case. You can hear me, Doctor?
Yes, I can hear you. The drug in question that has been reported is called Ecstasy. It's a form of methamphetamine. Unfortunately, in our country, we have an increase in drug use. So there's a drug culture that's been developed. Our young people are really very vulnerable, and there's a whole range of drugs that are available. Ecstasy itself is actually a tablet which contains MDMA. Unfortunately, young people are very trusting, and recently we've been finding that the chemical that's in the so-called Ecstasy tablet may not just be MDMA. There are other examples of chemicals, for example, heroin, cocaine, methadone, or bath salts, and even the crystalline form of MDMA that may be in ecstasy. We have a problem internationally with the flow of drugs. So some of the drugs are actually under international control. What we are actually finding is there are certain chemicals which are used to make drugs, and they are called precursors. And because they are under international control, some organizations are actually bringing in similar chemicals and are using these chemicals to form ecstasy. Unfortunately, these chemicals have a delayed onset of action. And most people who use ecstasy are actually expecting a high, which is related to the dopamine effect. Unfortunately, there are other effects that the patient may experience, or the person that's using may experience. And one of the effects is related to noradrenaline and adrenaline, which is the increase of blood pressure and the increase of pulse rate. But one of the most common causes of death is dehydration. And even here, this is not really understood, because most people think that dehydration means rehydrate with water. What people don't understand is MDMA is really a water retainer. So when you rehydrate someone, you really need to use rehydration solutions. So what are the immediate effects that people have with MDMA? Well, really, they get this cozy feeling, which is due to serotonin. They feel very sexually close to people. They feel very wanted. They feel high. But unfortunately, these feelings actually last for a short period of time, and then people need to take more. So you get the immediate withdrawal effects. You may have effects of increased tolerance, which means people may need to have more ecstasy to get the same effect. And you may have a situation where people become dependent on ecstasy. Now, ecstasy itself is just a drug, and each person reacts individually to this drug. So I think it's very important that medical practitioners, seeing patients who've taken ecstasy or having negative effects, are able to assess the patient from a holistic point of view. What happens when people stop ecstasy for a week? They start developing other types of symptoms. For example, a decreased libido, they have irritability, concentration problems, memory problems, hot flushes, tremors, and this actually leads them to wanting to take more ecstasy to start feeling normal. So really, we have a problem. And the problem is, one, the purity of the drug. We don't know what really was in the tablet that people are using. And I would like to encourage the authorities to form, and the SAP, to form some sort of drug watch. So when they have any drugs that they confiscate, to be able to test them in a laboratory and to be able to put it up for the public to be able to see. It's very important that parents themselves get very involved with their children, especially the fathers, to be really closer to their children, to be able to have that disciplined love that these children need, to be able to educate our children. I'm finding more and more young people are unable to really look for good male role models in our society.
Yeah.
I think this is very important. We know that international drug cartels have targeted South Africa as a drug utilization area. We've seen the increase of heroin over the few years, and heroin is now increasing in purity. I'm really concerned because we started with straws, which are lower doses of heroin, and now they have been put into capsules. People are getting higher doses. And it's my opinion that we are being set up for an intravenous epidemic of heroin, which is going to lead to hepatitis C, HIV, etc., and overdose deaths. Now, one of the biggest problems that any organized crime syndicate has is to be able to infiltrate countries and to be able to get a great number of people using. Once it comes in at a low price, eventually when demand increases, the price increases.
Well, Doctor, we've run out of time, but thank you very much for that comprehensive update on what is a very sad story down in KwaZulu-Natal. Thank you for joining us. That's Dr. Lochan Naidoo. He's a drug expert from KwaZulu-Natal. Of course, 7 children are now confirmed dead, with another 30 others said to be in hospital as police investigations continue on this very sad case. 7 learners dead after an end of year party it was.